I am looking at B points higher and hit target immediately. Like sideways up and down almost. Flat for a trend. Yeah, I expect it all to get bought out ultimately. The open volatility. First step in dealing with the people at the open. It may go on for a little bit before we actually break the trend, but that's okay. Taking a little bit more time at the open to deal with the people is not abnormal. We're a little bit similar to this yesterday. Added difficulty today, as whereas there wasn't yesterday. Here, there's no certainties. Just a time where there's like we know that there's going to be difficulty until the people are gone. Knew early on today that today would be a day where it's going to be like similar to yesterday, except it's going to take more time, make people jump through hoops for pullbacks. We're just about to be at the 261 because now we're doing 261 to 188 because I don't even think it's an environment at all for heavy size. Zero. No high probability trades. There's barely been any targets. Like the one target that I did put in, I took off, and that's it. Other than that, I wholeheartedly believe we will break the top line. It's just from where is the major question. There's been no from where at all. It's only been there's likely to be difficulty as people saw a very similar setup yesterday and they're going to want it to work the same way. Other than that, I think that it's a matter of just pulling on the average human being's patience and then getting through the trend. We should be able to do that, chop them out and then just like the institutions will know that ultimately after the difficulty, they want to continue this plan. Um, these are major B points that we've had. Basically, just at yesterday's open, like yesterday was a big buffer day. Taking back the progress from yesterday is nothing in the major plan. Absolutely nothing. To most people, it seems like just another significant day, and it's not, in my opinion. Zero. I think it's for the fools, essentially. Not for the people that are holding long. For the people that want to fall for the top from yesterday and just really get involved with something that's not going to benefit them. Yesterday, it's like no long trades are able to survive today. And obviously, the plan for the institutions is long. And what? They make it hard for people to be long when most of the people are on? We've seen many times over in the past few sessions that five wave down can be like five wave up. And I'm just going to say, like I do believe that it's going to break the top line. Doesn't mean randomly buy in, doesn't mean anything like that though. But yeah, it means every trade that we take should be tailored towards being able to get that trend to break for us. And the better we can position ourselves for the break of that trend, the better we will have done our job. And I'm like, I don't know how else to say it. It also even looks like it was 188 of the big fib on the left here. Major fibs along that VWAP greed zone. The impact was enough to break the short-term trend, and the short-term trend also had another one here. And this one just getting tested right now. They're making moves that have like blue lines attached to them here too. Fun. So coming back to that blue line. See how it's interested in that? Right in and around the trend break. So we can see we're basically bouncing off of the blue line, and we will see the blue line again. Now it's the first thing we've done. Very similar to making a spike on the top, consolidation, a similar spike on the bottom. Intriguing how the distances match so even. Intriguing how the sideways is truly sideways here. Look at that sideways. Could we agree that that sideways had up and down? Now we're trying to come back up to where it was sideways. Now, when we make phase A, um, it does this preliminary support, selling climax, right? And then automatic rally, and then secondary test. What we have going on right now is something that's quite similar to the first part of phase A without the dump. Of course, many will have a triangle. It's the same kind of triangle that is formed when we make a phase A. However, phase A hasn't formed properly. Instead, what we have is very clearly a triangle, meaning what moves we have out of it are likely to be shit and return back to the triangle. Phase A is starting to go, have this sort of larger dump now. Like it'll be something that could be more like the scoop, when we've been seeing that chop up and the dump down and the scoop back up. Being at the VWAP area too, I think about the original fib set from all the way up here. And of course, you know, this is that drive. Red yellow line is obviously getting its response. We want to see it hit again. Persistence is key. And this is going to look like a 5-wave move too. Of course, here we are approaching again the red yellow line. Where all everything was bought back out. Like we're getting ready to touch the red yellow line again. They're thinking about it. Didn't quite connect with the red zone above. That's what I'm looking for again. So we're back up at the POC. It blew up. Look at that. We draw back heavy like that. Obviously, there's some chasers that we have to get out that bought above the red zone, that bought above the B points. We come back and grab those guys like nothing. The B point can be shifted again. We're almost at the 61 of the entire move. Yeah, fibs can be reapplied. So the need to test that red yellow line above right there is something of interest as well. We're going to be stuck on that thing for a second, it looks like. Still technically using something that we've been interested in quite a bit. I find that very likely. I guess I was muted because, like, what I was saying, I was going over right there how that line comes way back and we're interested in testing it. That was what I was just talking about right there. I zoomed out. So we just came up and hit that line. And I guess I was muted for it, but I made it very, very clear, and we also made the 61 hit right because we had the 61. I'm like, what's an appropriate bounce if not the number one line that we've been coming back to for so long? You know, that's what I was explaining when I zoomed out there. And it is an M, so it makes this top line red yellow and an attractive one to break. And basically, like I see these days as incredibly difficult for short-term traders and really easy for long-term holders. Like it's like nothing. Like we're not pulling back very significantly. It's just another major chop day where it's really easy to overlap everything. Like this entire dump is likely to be overlapped to the upside. I'm expecting us to get up into the pink zone. So ultimately, that's what I want to see is the pink zone top. Like this is to a certain extent, it's also like sideways up and down. Like what we've done in here is very sideways. We created that node. We did go up out of it. We have come down out of it. We have yet to go back up into that node, and that's a lot. Like 50 to 40, that's 100 points right there. And I could see that being on the table. What we do when we go from 61, we would go 61 to 61 of this move. In a hypothetical situation, where would our 61 be? Right there. So even if we come down to hit the 188 200s, make a 3 drives pattern, that general area to reverse back up to that high is what, everyone wants to be fighting for, really, at the end of the day. Getting to the red yellow line, like breaking it properly, that's important. Turn this one up here too, because that's like the major longer term one. Never was broken properly. Short term, it looks like it has a head and shoulders. Could like if we fail that little 5-second head and shoulders, it could blast off. So, the risk reward is really tight on that. You don't have to put on much risk. Like literally, if it goes underneath the head and shoulders, you don't even want it. Right now, we're grinding across the orange and yellow line from long ago that was, it's always struggled so far. Like we've managed to chop it and break it to return back to it, to make big spikes on one side, to make big spikes on the other side, to then come all the way back down to retrace to it as a 61% retracement. One of the most significant lines to return to. And I'm like, it's starting to become a little bit more difficult to do things that are in association with it. One major problem: the amount of time left in the day. There isn't much, but there's still enough time to return back to the sideways portion. Look at that. We can see that this is playing out as well on a side note. Do you not see, though, the arrow? This is a bullish pattern. This is like the same pattern that we did when we were right here, like that, except this one's going even farther. You see that kind of motion though?
I caught it. I just thought it was gonna be very slow. Like I was waiting maybe until like I thought the trade was gonna play out until like maybe end of session.
Oh yeah,
But
no, these are the institutions. They're literally like I've been making videos at the end of the day every day,
yeah,
and
yeah, I've been seeing it. I've been seeing it.
Do I have a target in mind, or
well,
because that's what I
the goal
struggle
is to
to.
be exposed and to like so the goal is to try your best to be exposed to the thing and play at any given time. Like right now, I want it to be like okay, it's bad not to be exposed. Like you like not being exposed to things is like not learning, not rolling forward, not making mistakes on the sim account or anything like that. So I think it's better to get involved with more things and put yourself in the uncomfortable zone, and like all of those uncomfortabilities that you have are building your doubts. Like I think that knocking them out and trading them and like absolutely, getting involved with them as much as possible, like with every bit of time, like even just taking this green zone to red zone, like everything that you can do, you have a reason to try and do it, you may as well. If something goes wrong with it, then like you can put a stop at the bottom of the green zone, try and go for the red zone, like right now, buy 3 contracts, put 1 contract for sale at the B point up top. Yeah, and then manage the other 2 and see what happens. Like you have wiggle room to be able to buy a couple more if you wanted to. And but that's the thing with this, you want to make sure that you're using like you can use even ATM strategies if you wanted to on the stop.
That would be my stop out right there, and
Well, that
then
like you were like that's the thing, you didn't even add a couple contracts yet. That would be where I would be saying like you would be wanting to pick up a couple more contracts. That would be the next step. The next step would be to grab a couple more contracts. But yeah,
like
it's
that
kind of, well, yeah,
same
like
level.
I guess right now, yeah. I mean, I would grab 4 to be honest, and then see what you can do with that. Yeah, and then you've got a small B point that's up at the top there. That's like 1 contract you could take off there for instance. You just hit the ask right now. Hit the it's or yeah, like hit the ask once and then boom, and then that's good. And then put your stop and profit on the other rest of it, and then you're good to go. And we're going to repeat that process. How many times do we expect to repeat it? 35 times. And I'm like, if you have to do it 35 times, what's the next time? It's nothing, right? Fucking nothing. And I'm like, that's how I operate. Yeah, because like we want to see it go to that red zone. You want to be able to take off one when it gets to the red zone. Like we
Right.
can, but like at the end of the day, hitting the ask when it gets to the red zone is nicer because sometimes it blows right through it, and like you want to be like, oh, that's juicy, because as soon as if it fires through the red zone from above, it's going to want to test the red zone. So you can try and sell one off above the red zone and literally buy it back underneath, like just quickly buy it back when it tests the red zone, because it'll likely test the red zone from above and then bounce again. Even like now as it comes down and grabs the green zone, sometimes I would get more. Like it depends on, like you want to practice being aggressive with it, and like there will be mistakes, and that's why it's good to do on the sim account, and just keeping it tight, being in control. Yeah, they're getting ready to load it up, I think. If it makes a 61% pullback of that move, I would get more, like of that tiny little move from the bottom there. Yeah, or any kind of
Yeah.
pullback. Yeah, like I think they're just about to go to the red zone. That's the irony of it. So I mean, at the end of the day, when we're trading green zone to red zone and we're buying in the green zone, keeping the stop inside of the green zone as well can be a little bit harder to manage. But yeah, like that right there, that's good. You only got 2 though. That's the only thing as well. So we're gonna try and at bottom of red candles. Like it's that's the thing. It's gonna get away without you having much of the trade. Okay, so yeah, making that 61 at the bid. You could like that's the thing. Like for me, I would click and then try and sell it in the POC of that node up there, and see if you can uh get it in the POC, like right above your average price, basically. I would put some orders right, like 10 points above, yeah, right in there, because
Like
that's
to
an
sell, right?
yeah. And it sells off the bad contracts, and you'll be left with the ones at the bottom. And it could be like quick snaps and shit like that. When it hits those levels at the top, I still like to hit the ask, depending on like if I have a bunch, but it'll reduce your position size so much that you don't have to really do that. That's the snap, but it's still brewing, it looks like. Yeah. Now I hit the ask usually as well, and then try and pick it up on the pullback again. But you don't want to do it anymore because it's pulling back. You could even like you could
Oh
even
yeah,
it's
like
crazy
sell
because
it in,
I would
get it in.
yeah.
You could even pick some up on the pullback, but it is basically where you sold it. So I mean, if you had have sold some off at the ask, it would be more appropriate. You can see the value in buying the pullback, and even on that little tick up there, you could have hit the ask again and sold some off. And like that's the kind of like high frequency trading that I want to see. You be able to manage, which is like absolutely understanding everything that the market's doing on a micro level. Because if you understand everything it's doing on the micro level, you understand everything. Remember that. Just make it so that you sell one at the red zone. That would be ideal, because then you're really in for the continuation. You don't just have one left.
Because now it's spiking out the stops at the bottom of the node. It's likely to return back to the node again.
And sometimes it's favorable to get him more under your price, though, right? Because
Yeah, exactly.
because
Yeah,
these can be manipulative, yeah.
Yeah, because you would have been buying more here if you didn't buy that first one. You'd be able to buy like 3 or 4, and then that would be ideal. Thing is, we're making an inverse head and shoulders right now too. So this is like another one of these giant like left head and then right sort of style patterns, where ultimately I do think we're going to break that trend, and that's the name of the game. We're kind of making a tip of a triangle now, and we've left the tip of the triangle. I've yet to really return back to that tip, but it's like it's the most important thing. Coming back to the tip now. So here we are coming back to the tip of the triangle and the trend break. We got to watch out for retests of the trend as well. So it looks like they're using the bottom of that green zone pretty decently. Came back pretty violently for that retest. They're trying to make sure nobody's in. Like that movement right there is designed to get all the stops and not offer more opportunity. It's designed to take opportunity away. Because, we can see at the bottom of that wick, barely anybody freaking got in there. That was like, but by overlapping the chunk, the bulk of that movement, most of where people were allowed to trade was overlapped. And nice movement on that, right? Watch out, because we also have to consider we're barely even moving to the red zone. The 5 seconds deceiving. It wants you to sell the whole position when it hasn't even started fucking moving yet. So that's another thing, because you have exposure right now, and it's basically making a movement on either side of the triangle. And when we get up, this could look like a W. And let's imagine for a second if it was a W. Let's say if it got to the red zone, it would be the 141. And right now we're making equal distances on both sides of the triangle. So basically, this is a spot that's threatening to be a B point to a W. Like, if we come back down in the future to this place, this is like the last spot for any buyers to be safe. Like, I would say for buyers, like this is like the last call of where, everybody's not safe beyond this point, kind of thing. And I saw the other days, like yesterday, I made a video on the imbalance. No, like it literally was an event of the day that they were concerned with manipulating to their advantage. And today, it makes an incredible spectacle, in my opinion. I'm waiting for the show. Institutions, they're getting the red zone. This is the red zone. Beautiful hit of the ask there. Nice. That's what I like to see. And now you're managing the rest. You can even pick some up on the red zone at the top, like for continuations, but it's kind of with the aspirations of selling it off on the gyration upwards. Yeah, yeah, it was a little bit quick, but with those ones on the pullbacks, you want to be really defensive about them like that. I do want us to get on top of that red zone. They're going long, and they're just basically overlapping all the people that bought into the excitement. We're getting ready to break the short-term downtrend. There's a little. They just broke it, and they're retesting it right now. Like on the 5 second there, it's all like you could imagine the trend breaking and retesting right now easily. That's what we're doing. Continuation after trend break, beautiful. Hit the ask, nice. Yeah. Now we're talking. Here you go. Yeah.
Now, do you put the stop in profit? I guess.
But we have to watch out for the red zone. Like I would be hedging down to the red zone if you could, but it's not necessarily that's the risk right now. You could keep the stop at the extreme at the bottom actually if you wanted to. You've taken off enough profit to do so. Yeah. Or even underneath the bull flag. At the end of the day, like you're going to be looking for an opportunity to buy into the red zone from above, to be honest, for another continuation to the upside. And I don't even think they're going to give it, which is so fucking retarded. But if they do, I'm like, that's what you're attracted to. You know what I mean? Not bad. I'm like, that fucking candle is like 100 points. You know, it's like these are huge moves at the end of the day. It's sort of interesting when you think about that.
Hey, John.
Hey,
Hey, the Trump 48 hours ultimatum thing with Iran is at 8 p.m. tonight. So
oh, interesting.
that could be something. That could
Yeah.
swing. Okay.
Yeah.
Is up on that.
I'm looking for the market to go up from a technical reason. Like, you know, we will see, like, if the market itself already knows what's going to happen, whatever the bullish outcome will be is whatever, that's what I expect to happen, you know, because I expect the market to go up, so I expect it to be bullish. So I'm like, whatever the bullish decision will be is what I expect. If stopping the war is bullish, then that's what they're going to do.
See it from the like March, I guess 18th high to the
Okay.
low that it made. We're at 61% of that right now.
Yeah, like going up to it. Nice. Yeah, like I want to see us break that. Like my goal is to get to the other side of the range and actually get through to the all-time high. And I made it clear at the very beginning that it was even on bad news we could do this. So even if the news is bad, ultimately it's going to have a bullish impact from what I can see on the market. And any initial negative impact that there could be, I do expect to be bought out. Like if they have a negative move in the overnight session, I expect it to be slowly bought out all the way up to just like every other move we've been having over the past 2 weeks, just maybe a swipe across, you know, trades in the after hours session. But yeah, no, I would say I'll be around at that time. There could be something interesting happening, and I'll pop in and see what's going on. But yeah, on that note, it's the close, and hopefully you guys had a wonderful day.